Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. The show's going to go a little different today than how it normally would go on a regular Thursday. Now, normally on Thursday, it would be like our regularly scheduled programming. It would just be single bet picks. And then Friday, obviously, would be our Freaky Friday video. But I'm going away on vacation this weekend, so this is actually going to be the last NBA player prop video until Monday. I do apologize for that, guys. I am going away to Chicago for the weekend, Chicago/Indiana. Going on a little boys trip. I'm a diehard Notre Dame football fan. It's my first time going to the Notre Dame Stadium playing Florida State on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm going back to Chicago to see Patriots-Bears at Soldier Field. Leaving at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning, so I'm going to be gone all weekend. Just really no time to go ahead and record more player prop videos while I'm on the road. If I can, I will try and go ahead and post some plays on my Instagram/TikTok page at Tassos Picks, so go ahead and follow that. I'll try to make sure I post at least some plays over the next couple of days over there, but there will be no videos here on the YouTube channel after today until Monday. So, to make up for that, we're doing our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay today. We'll call it our Thirsty Thursday 5-leg parlay. So that's what today's video is going to be. 5-leg parlay plus 569 odds coming your way. But first, guys, before we dive into today's parlay, a quick little recap of how I did last night, and it wasn't very good. And look, guys, I like to be transparent. I think that's what separates us in general, me and us as a channel from other people, is that I don't really like to run from the losses. The losses suck. No one wants to be a loser. No one wants to post this graphic and show you guys and have people click and go, oh, man, this guy sucks ass. But we had a bad night last night, 0-5. And look, I said it, this is the second time this year. Overall, we've actually had a really solid season. We've actually cashed 4 consecutive days going into today's video, or yesterday's video, I should say. So we were on a really good run, and then we had a really catastrophic day last night. There's nothing going our way. Every one of these picks, minus except for maybe the Şengün pick, every pick was close. For example, we had Trae Young under 37.5 points, rebounds, assists. He finished with 39. We had Garland over 26.5 points plus assists. He finished with 23. We had Luka over 49.5 points, rebounds, assists. He finished with 47. So, we were really close, but unfortunately, close doesn't get us wins. So, really bad night last night, but I'm not too worried about it, guys. I hope you aren't, because we got a long season ahead. We're going to go ahead and get some winners here, probably today. We, of course, hit our Freaky Friday parlay last week, which was really, really solid. Let's see if we can't go ahead and do it again this week, guys. No more time to waste. Let's dive right into today's picks. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen here. We have a little 3-game slate here. Not a really big slate, not a lot of options here, but I did find some really solid value in this 5-leg parlay, which again is plus 569 odds, which is on FanDuel, by the way. I tried to alternate every week. Last week we used DraftKings. This week we're going to go ahead and use FanDuel. And yes, there will be some alternate lines, including this one. Our first of 5 legs in today's parlay. We have 3 props targeting this Bulls-Timberwolves game, which has an 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Anthony Edwards here, over 2.5 3-pointers made. Obviously, this is an alternate line, so the prop is very juiced, but it's juiced for a reason here. We're getting this from minus 230 odds on FanDuel, throwing it here in the parlay, and the data is absolutely fantastic. He's been chucking threes at a really high rate so far this year in Minnesota. Edwards is taking a whopping 11.4 3-point attempts per game, but he's shooting about 45% from 3, so if he's going to keep shooting like that, absolutely give him the green light to keep on shooting. The last couple of games, he's toned it down a little bit, but overall, he's taking a lot of threes this year, and obviously the minutes that he's playing about 37 minutes per game this year, so really good numbers across the board there in terms of the usage, the volume of shots he's taking, and he's cashed this in all 7 games so far this year for the Timberwolves. He's averaging 5.14 made 3-pointers per game. That's absolutely insane. He's taking a lot of threes, and he's making a lot of threes. He only hit this at a 44% hit rate last year. Still pretty solid, 2.48 3-pointers per game he made. He cashed in 42 out of 95 games, including the playoffs. But again, so far this year, 100% hit rate. In the head-to-head data, one of the last 2 times he faced off with the Bulls, he cashed the over. Now, back in February of last year, he actually made 5 threes in what was an overtime loss for the Timberwolves. And the second time they played, he made 0 threes. He actually shot 0 for 5 from 3 in that game. But the first time he played, he shot 5 for 9. So pretty good volume, averaging about 7 3-pointers attempted per game against Chicago last year. So pretty good numbers there. And, of course, the defensive data looks pretty good. Overall, the Bulls not too bad. 11th in 3-pointers allowed to opposing teams. Teams are making about 12.4 threes per game on this on this Bulls team. A little voice crack there. But versus shooting guards in particular, which of course Anthony Edwards is, they are 24th in the NBA, giving up 5.2 3-pointers made per game against shooting guards. So shooting guards are having a pretty solid time making threes. on this Bulls defense. Again, Edwards 100% hit rate so far this year, 50% hit rate against Chicago. Even the last 10 games going back to last season, an 80% hit rate, 8 of his last 10 games. He actually cashes in 8 consecutive games dating back to the playoffs last year. Really good numbers here for Anthony Edwards. Love this spot for the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, next up, like I said, 3 props of the 5 props in this parlay are going to be coming from this Timberwolves bowl game. Our second leg in our 5-leg parlay, going Julius Randle of the Minnesota Timberwolves over 19.5 points. Now, this one is not as juiced. It's minus 135 on the FanDuel, so you could go ahead and bet this straight if you don't want to participate in the parlay, which, hey, that's your prerogative. But you could bet this straight, not bad value at all. So far this year, Randle, 71% hit rate. He's cashed the over in 5 out of 7 games this year for Minnesota, averaging 21.43 points per game this season. He actually had cashed the over in 5 straight games going into that Charlotte game the other night where he had just 13 points. But overall, pretty solid numbers. Of course, last year with the Knicks, 74% hit rate, 34 out of 46 games he cashed the over, averaging 23.96 points per game last season. The overall data is pretty solid, but the head-to-head data is even better. The last time he faced off with the Chicago Bulls last year, of course, as a member of the New York Knicks, he had 35 points in that game, had a really solid performance against the Bulls, took a bunch of threes in that one, 23 total shot attempts. I don't know if he'll necessarily take that many shots, but he had a lot of volume there against the Bulls the last time he played. Remember, that was as a member, of course, of the New York Knicks. And while I don't think he'll take 23 shots, that's a massive amount of shots for him. His volume has been pretty solid so far. He's averaging about 13.4 field goal attempts per game, and he's shooting about 57% from the floor. So pretty good numbers there. Good volume of shots. He's taken at least 10 shots in every single game this year for Minnesota. Of course, the 2 games where he went under were the games where he only took 10. When he's taken more than 10 shots, it's a 100% hit rate this year, shooting 4 threes per game, about 48% from 3, and about 33 minutes per game. So overall, pretty good numbers there for Julius Randle. And again, the head-to-head data is one of the key things here. The Bulls, not very good defensively, 24th in the NBA right now in points allowed to opposing teams, gave up 119 points per game. Versus power forwards in particular, though, the second worst defense in the NBA so far this year against the power forward position, giving up a whopping 31.1 points per game to opposing power forwards. So a really solid head-to-head matchup here for Randle. The fact that this is only minus 135 is actually kind of surprising. Love this prop for this parlay. All right, guys, in our third leg of our 5-leg parlay and our final prop from this Bulls-Timberwolves game, we have an 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Josh Giddey of the Chicago Bulls over 9.5 points. A lot of juice on this one. It's minus 250 on FanDuel, but again, for good reason. We have a 100% hit rate so far this year on this over for Josh Giddey. He's looked very solid so far as a member of the Chicago Bulls. He's cashed the over in all 8 games, averaging 14.13 points per game this season for Chicago. And the volume's there. He's averaging about 29 minutes per game for the Bulls, so he's playing a ton of minutes. He's about just shy of 12 shots per game. He's shooting about 43% from the floor, so he could be doing even better, but overall not bad. About 3.53 attempts per game, and he's shooting about 43% from 3, so that's not too bad. But overall, the usage rate and the volume data is there for Josh Giddey. The head-to-head data also looks pretty solid. 3 of the last 4 times he met up with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, of course, this is back last year as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. But in 3 of those 4 meetings, he did cash the over, averaging 9.5 points per game against the Timberwolves last season. And if anything, the fact that he had that much success versus them last year with the role that he had, it should give you even more confidence about this one here. He only averaged about 24.4 minutes per game in those matchups last year. Even the last one, he cashed that over on January 29th. He only played 19.2 minutes. He still cashed the over with 13 points in that game. And he wasn't even shooting very well from 3. He only shot a really disappointing 23% from 3 against the Timberwolves last year. He did take about 8 shots per game. Not bad shooting data there. Only 1 time this season has he played less than 25 minutes in the game, though. So that's the key thing to note there. Obviously, the volume much higher. Pretty good spot here. He only needs his 10 points to go ahead and cash the over. Overall, Minnesota, they are a top 10 defensive team still, although I do think defensively they're not as sharp as they were last year. Some of that is the fact that they swapped Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle. Not like Towns is a great defender, but when you have a center playing power forward, a little bit easier to defend. Randle, obviously not a very good defender. Jaden McDaniels hasn't been playing very well either. So defensively, Minnesota is still top 10, but not nearly as good as they were last year. They were like a generational defense last year. This year, it's still good, but not as good. Versus shooting guards and versus point guards, they are still top 10. Again, the defensive matchup, obviously, versus small forwards, though, Minnesota's been pretty awful this year. But again, I'm not too concerned here with the overall defensive matchup. All we need here is 10 points for Josh Giddey. We know he's going to take his shots. We know he's going to play his minutes. I think it's a pretty good spot minus 250 for a reason. Give me the over as our third leg in our 5-leg parlay. By the way, guys, we are about to hit the 10-minute mark in today's video. If you are still watching, please go ahead and comment 10 down below. We really appreciate you guys, your support, especially the last couple days with all this stuff going on with the main channel. We're hoping to get the main channel back up and running very soon. We're still trying to work with YouTube. On that side of things, again, I still don't have a lot of answers for you guys because we haven't been given a lot of answers, so I do apologize for that. But the support, we've got already over 2,000 subscribers in over a day on this new channel. Really awesome support from you guys. So please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and comment 10 if you're still watching at this point in today's video. All right, guys, next up, our fourth leg in our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Portland Trailblazers San Antonio Spurs game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going DeAndre Ayton of the Portland Trailblazers over 9.5 rebounds. Still a juice, but not as bad. A little juice on this one, minus 185 on FanDuel for this prop. The data so far this year, pretty solid for Ayton. 88% hit rate, 7 out of 8 games this year. He's cashed the over, averaging 11.5 rebounds per game this season. The only game so far this year he failed to cash the over was against Oklahoma City back on November 1st. So pretty good numbers. Even last year in general, a 64% hit rate on this line for DeAndre Ayton. He cashed in 35 out of 55 games last year with an average of 11.07 rebounds per game. So really good numbers overall. The head-to-head data, the last time he faced off with the San Antonio Spurs, you got to go back to January 26th of last season. He had 12 rebounds in that game against San Antonio, and he had about 16 rebound chances in that game as well. Again, obviously with the Spurs overall this year, they're actually 6th in rebounds allowed. A pretty good rebounding team. When you have a 7'5" Frenchman down low, makes it pretty easy to go ahead and grab some boards. However, versus centers, they are 13th, giving up 11.5 rebounds per game this year to opposing centers. So, it's not a bad spot. He did do it the last time he played them. We just need him to grab 10 boards here, which again, he's cashing an 88% hit rate so far this year. And the insights provided by Outlier, he's actually cashed the line of 11.5. So you go 2 rebounds higher at 11.5. He's cashed it in 8 straight road games at 9.5. So 11.5, he's cashed in 7 of his last 8 road games. At our line, which we're getting at 9.5 rebounds, it is of course an alternate line. He's actually cashed that 9.5 rebound line in 8 straight road games. So really good numbers there across the board for DeAndre Ayton. Pretty solid prop. All right, guys, in our 5th and final leg of today's parlay, we have the most juiced line in the parlay, but juiced for very good reason. We're going Jazz Bucks, again, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, the Greek freak himself, over 24.5 points. And again, like with a lot of these props that have these really high odd, minus 250, minus 280, minus 290, the data is obviously going to be really solid. And this one, it's juiced for a reason. Giannis has cashed the over in 5 out of 6 games so far this year, an 83% hit rate. He's averaging 31 points per game so far this year for Milwaukee. He's really all Milwaukee has. Damian Lillard, he shows up about once a week, maybe. The rest of this Bucks team, really unimpressive. I love Giannis in Milwaukee. I do think he's probably going to be on the move very soon. I think this Bucks team is pretty much washed. The decision to go and trade for Damian Lillard has really backfired on them in a big way. Overall, though, pretty good numbers. Even last year, 74% hit rate on this over. 54 out of 73 games, he cashed the over last year, averaging 30.44 points per game last year. So all we need him to do here is score 25 points. It's a really solid matchup. Head-to-head data, each of the last 2 times he's faced off with the Utah Jazz. By the way, Milwaukee actually lost the last 2 times they played Utah, surprisingly. He did cash the over in both those games, averaging 29 points per game against the Jazz last year, 33 points in their previous meeting, and the meeting before that, 25 points, which again cashes the over, just barely, but still a cash. Overall, the Jazz this year, are 25th in points allowed, giving 119.6 points per game to opposing teams. So not a very good defensive team, bottom 5 in the NBA. Giannis, he's one of those players where you don't really know where to put him. He's not really a center, so we won't put him there. He's either a small forward or power forward. You put him versus power forward. Utah is top 10, giving 20.1 points per game. They're actually pretty solid, but versus small forwards, 9th. So I know the data looks like they're pretty solid defensively, top 10 in both those categories, but overall they are 25th. I do think Giannis is due for a big game here. The Bucks, they need a win badly, and if they're going to win, it's got to go through Giannis. So give me Giannis here over 24.5 points. Again, he's cashed in every game this year except for one versus Brooklyn. He had 22 points in that game. Every other game so far this year, though, he has cashed the over. All right, jumping into FanDuel. Now just show you guys this parlay. Quick little recap here. All 5 legs. It actually jumped up a little bit in odds since we started recording. It's now plus 588 on this parlay. You can just take the three leg parlay if you just want to do that Bulls Timberwolves same game parlay. It's plus 232 on its own. Not honestly a bad option if you don't want to take the full thing. But the overall parlay, Josh Giddey to score 10 or more points, Julius Randle to score 20 or more points. Anthony Edwards, 3 or more threes made. DeAndre Ayton to record 10 or more rebounds. And Giannis Antetokounmpo to score 25 or more points. You parlay all 5 together, guys, and you get a parlay of plus 588 odds. Pretty solid value if you ask me. So, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It really helps the channel grow, especially in a time like this. Like I said, guys, I won't be back tomorrow or Saturday with any NBA player prop videos. I apologize for that. Again, I'll be away for the weekend. If you're in the Chicago area or in the South Bend, Indiana area this weekend, go ahead and hit me up, give me a little shout out. We'll go ahead and meet up, maybe have a beer at one of these games if you're at them. But yeah, I'm still planning on getting out most of my videos. The Sunday Night Football video obviously will be ready. The NFL Oracle, college football, trying to get all the videos done today and get them ready for the weekend, so you guys will have all those but this is my last NBA video until Monday. And it'll be probably a little bit later. I'm getting back from Chicago Monday morning, so probably a little later in the day Monday, but you will get a video on Monday. So guys, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. I'll be back on Monday with another NBA player prop video, but until then, I hope you're all winners, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week.